Section 2, Video 4, Pyramids and Cones. Now here is where things get quite interesting. Now again, with a pyramid, you have basically 5 faces. You have the bottom square or rectangle. In this case, it's a square because we have S written down. And then you have the triangles on the side. So here's the right face triangle, then you have the front face triangle there, and so on, and there's 4 of them, so there's 5 total faces. If you look at the shape in that manner, you're using this formula. So the area of the base, which would be S squared, or S times S, and the sum of all its faces. Each face is a triangle, so therefore you're going to use the triangle formula, 1/2 base times height. There's another way to do this one, but it does require one piece of information, and it's called the slant height. The slant height would be then not the height of the shape, which is what this is, okay? In this case, it would be, slant height would be, let me use a different color here, the tip of the pyramid to a side, but it's still at a right angle, okay, but it's considered slant height, and that letter is L that they use it for. Now if you use that one, you have to know the area of the base still, the perimeter of the base, so right here, the perimeter of that base, times 1/2 times the slant height. So 2 different choices there, kind of depending upon what you have in your question and how you would decide to proceed. A little bit quicker that way though. Now for a cone, we have the area of the circle on the bottom, pi r squared. You have pi r, and then you have this L again, so your slant height. Okay, so with the cone, it becomes pretty important. Now sometimes you won't have that. You will have the height, you will have the radius, but just remember, it's a right angle, and we're dealing then with a right triangle, so Pythagorean is going to come into play again. So again, make sure you know what side is your hypotenuse, which in case, in this scenario, would be the slant height. And that's why I had reviewing the Pythagorean theorem written there, okay? So sometimes you'll be required to create information like we have in the past, and Pythagorean theorem will be a valuable tool for that. So our next question is a cone. So the surface area of a cone, we said, was pi r L, slant height, plus pi r squared. So that's our circle. So let's do that first. Here's our circle. It's a diameter of 6, therefore a radius of 3. Our slant height is 8. That's pointing to this line right there, so not a true height straight up and down, but it's a slant height. Radius of 3 again, pi. Now if we use 3.14, well, if we actually don't calculate the pi's and leave them there, we'd have 24 pi plus 9 pi, which would give us 33 pi. I think that's millimeters, yep, millimeters squared. Now this would be considered the exact answer, but if you use 3.14 in your calculation, you'd get approximately 103.62 millimeters squared. Now a pyramid, we said a couple choices. We have 2 to choose from, but notice they do give us this slant height. So let's go ahead and use that formula. So for slant height, it was area of base plus 1/2 perimeter of the base times slant height. So the area of the base would be 3 times 3, which is square, so we get 9, plus 1/2. The perimeter of the base would be 3, 3, 3, and 3, so 12. And the slant height would be the 11. We do that calculation, and we would get 75 feet squared. Now if you did, that's one method. You could also use the other formula, which was to say area of the base, which we did already, plus the area of each triangle. Now there's 4 triangles, so I would just basically say 4 times the area of one triangle. Now the area of the base we said was 9. One triangle, if I take this away, one triangle, and I'm just showing you this so you can choose a method here. They're all the same, but this one triangle has a base of 3, a height of 11, and we take that times a half. Now if we do that, we would get 16.5. And each one of those is the same, so there's 4 of them. So it would be 4 times 16.5, and that would give you the same result. Kind of giving you a choice, but it's up to you which one to use.